How we gonna turn a 2 number to 60 if it's already 60? I know we can skip one step and go all the way down to the
It's not skipping one step. I never told you to do it the way you just said it.
Oh.
Okay? Any other questions? Now is the time because you will be retested. Okay? So, different numbers.
I wish you give us the answer. I would take the notes. I wish you give us the answer.
All right. Number 2 was, and some of you even wrote down the problem wrong, even though it was right in front of you. Number 2 was I went right down the whole problem.
No, she's saying 40 is math.
Ariel, be quiet, please. It was 45 times 29. 45 times 29. Now, this is the one where people got a little mixed up in. I thought it would be the first because it was bigger. So, it's 45 times 29. So, Marvell, what are we doing first to estimate the product of this problem? Remember, the product is what? Shatira. The product is what? Just give me the definition of a product. I want you to sit all the way down because you're too focused on that. As a matter of fact, come over here. John, switch places with her. That way your back can be set. What's the product? The definition is, what's the product for? What's the product? Anyone want to help her out, Jalen? What's the, Jalen Cooper. Back up here. Marvell, what's the product? What's a product? The product is an answer to a multiplication problem. Do you understand? So anytime somebody is asking you for the product of a problem, it's the answer to a multiplication problem. Marvell, what's our first step in solving this and estimating the product for this problem? You need to be a little bit more specific in your steps. I'm asking you guys to talk to me about your steps so that when you get ready to do this again, you can hear yourself in your head saying, I need to do this first, this next, and this last. What is the first thing that you're going to do again? What? What? It's in the 10th place, and we know we're estimating products. We have to round our factors, which are these numbers, to the highest what? Highest place value. Marvell said we are underlining the 4. What are we doing next? Janiyah, Richard.
Ask the 5 what to do.
Asking our neighbor the 5 what to do. What is the 5 telling the 4 to do, Jonas? Yes, the 5 is telling the 4 to add 1 more, so we're going to round that to 5. And then what do we do afterwards? Becomes a 0. Now we have another factor, 29. What do we do next? Kayla? Why are we underlining the 2, Jay? It's in the 10th place, and the 10th place is the highest what? Place value. So now we're asking the neighbor the 9 what to do. What is the 9 telling us to do, Kevin?
The 9 telling us to do is add 1 more.
Add 1 more. 1 more will be what? 3. Everything to the right becomes a what? 0.
Why do you say 3 then?
Because if you add 1 more to 2, it's 3.
I said the other one.
So now we have 50. We have 50 times 30. Say we didn't know 50 times 30. And we can pull out a basic multiplication fact that can help us figure out the product to 50 times 30. What is that basic multiplication fact? 5 times 3. Slow down. Okay? So that is our basic multiplication factor. What is 5 times 3?
15.
15. Are we done?
No.
What do we have to do next?
I put the 15 up about 550 times 30.
And then you add 2 zeros.
Why not 3 or 4 zeros?
Because it's only 2 zeros.
It's only 2 zeros. So your answer should have been 1,500.
I have that.
And like I said, the mistakes were made was in the multiplication of the basic fact. Okay? Alright. The last one was a word problem that I'm going to read to you.
I didn't get that.
That's fine. And that's why we go over these things.
What? So, I just want you talking about the ones that we did in that book?
No. The one I'm not saying.
Alright, our word problem says a truck driver made 34 trips or 37 trips last year. If her average was 456 miles, about how many miles did she drive in 1 year? So the average, she made 34 trips. So that's an important number that you need to write down. Marvell, I'm sorry that I'm boring you, sir. I need you to sit up. Your eyes need to be on her. Do you understand? Cross your legs and pay attention. So, she made 34 trips in 1 year. Her average was 456 miles for each trip. They want to know in 1 year how many miles did she go? Okay? We talked about the way a word problem is worded. Was there any clues in that word problem that told you I'm supposed to subtract anything?
No.
No. Were there any clues in this problem that told you you were supposed to add anything? Okay? There were clues in this problem that told you, hey, I need to multiply these numbers. That there are 37 trips in all, and each trip was 456 miles each. How many miles did she do all together? Was about how many miles did she do all together? That you were supposed to multiply. So let's put our number up here. This should have been your initial number sentence. Doesn't matter which way it goes, but this should have been your initial number sentence. Okay? Now, we can do this the normal way and just go ahead and multiply this all out. But there was one word in that problem that put us in that we were going to be estimating. What was that word? About. When you see about how many or something, that means you're going to be estimating, which means you're going to use your rounding skills. Okay? So what's the first thing that I do, Nicholas? Underline the 3. What are we doing after that, Shatira? What are we doing? Oh, I'm sorry. That's what it said. Jonah? He said our neighbor, the 7, is asking the 3 to add 1 more. So that would make that a 4, and everything to the right becomes a 0. Now what are we doing, Judge? We're underlining the 4 because the 4 has the highest place value of 100. What are we doing after that, Danielle? We're asking our neighbor the 5 what to do. What is the 5 telling the 4 to do? The 5 is telling us to add 1 more, and that will make that a 5, and everything to the right becomes a 0. What is our basic fact in this problem?
5 times 4.
5 times 4 or 4 times 5, which is what? 20. Now, this is where you all got confused. Ashante and Jayla. This is where you all got confused. So, this is our basic fact, and we're saying that 4 times 5 equals 20. That's fine. Now, how many zeros go behind that?
3.
3.
And you put your comma between.
So it should have been 20,000 miles. A lot of people put 2,000 I said, if you think about it, some of you just made one small mistake, and most of those mistakes were made on this very last problem because I think you guys thought because there was a 0 behind this 2 for the 20 that you only had to put 2 more zeros, and that made it 2,000 and not 20,000. That's why your answer was wrong.
I didn't know what the
Okay?
What says about?
So you need to make sure that you understand what you were doing.
But you won't change it
I
over.
got the answer.
Okay? Are there any questions?
The answer.
No. Can we see our money?
We'll see you later. Are there any questions?
No, man.
I just had trouble on the last one.
Okay. What we're going to do now is you guys are going to walk me through a couple of these estimated products. In order for you to be successful on this, I need to know that you truly understand. All right.
So you gonna start doing
So
this
we
every
have 367.
It ain't working.
367 times 15. We want to estimate this product. So we have 367 times 15. What do we need to do, Jayla? Why? That's the highest. That's not the highest number. The 7 is the highest number. What's the 3? The highest what? Nope. Highest place value. So what do we do next, Kevin? We round what to the nearest 100? We rounded what to the nearest 100?
No, we can't.
Asking the 6 with the 3.
Asking the 6 what to do with
And
the
it's
3.
anytime for a 4, 4,
The 6 is telling the 3 to add 1 more, which is 4. And everything to the right becomes a 0. Now what do we do with 15?
Anybody?
Oh, I still have to make sure that no, give me a minute. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. No problem. So what are we doing with the 15? What's the highest place value?
The wall, the 10.
The wall.
The 10th place is the highest place value. The 10th place is the highest place value. What are we doing with that 10th place, Leilani? What are we going to do? Underline the number in the 10th place and ask our neighbor the 5 what to do. What is the 5 telling that 1 to do?
Add 1 more.
Add 1 more, which is what? 2. And everything to the right becomes a 0. What is our basic fact?
8.
What is our basic fact, Tyra? Delani? 4 times 2 is our basic fact. And what is 4 times 2 equal?
8.
8. Are we done?
No.
What do we do now?
So add the 8 to 1.
We're going to put our 8 up here and add what?
3 zeros.
3 zeros. Which will give you 8,000. Okay? Are there any questions? No. Are we confident we can pass another quiz? Do we know where we made some of our mistakes?
Can we see our test?
No.
She said,
Okay? So what you guys are going to do before you go back to your seats, I would like for you to collect a sheet of paper before you have a seat. Make sure your holes are on the left side of your paper. Write your name. Kevin, I have to ask a person to move you. Everybody's going to write their name, their number, and the date. You all will be working at these tables right here. Nobody is to go back to their original seat unless your original seat is right here. Grab a sheet of paper, grab a pencil, and then meet me over here.